Akosua was born into a humble family in the small village of Nyamejua, nestled in the rolling green hills of West Africa. Her parents, Kwesi and Ama, were hard-working farmers who tilled the earth from dawn to dusk. Though the soil was fertile, life was not easy. The rains were unpredictable, and the harvests barely provided enough for their family of 6. Akosua, as the eldest of 4 children, carried the unspoken burden of hope and expectation. From a young age, she displayed a sharp intellect and an innate charm that set her apart from her siblings. While her younger brothers, Kofi and Yaa, enjoyed running barefoot through the fields and herding the family's few goats, Akosua preferred to sit by the riverbank, dreaming of a life beyond the village. She watched traders from the city pass through Nyamejua with their fine clothes and shiny trinkets, and she wondered what lay beyond the hills that encased her world. These moments by the river became her escape, a sanctuary where she allowed herself to dream. Akosua's life took a significant turn when she turned 12. The village elder and midwife, Nana Adebayo, noticed Akosua's curiosity and intelligence. Nana Adebayo was a revered figure in Nyamejua, a woman whose wisdom and skill brought life into the world and comforted the sick. She saw potential in Akosua and decided to take her on as an apprentice. Under Nana Adebayo's tutelage, Akosua learned the sacred art of midwifery. She memorized the names of medicinal plants, learned how to mix herbs into healing salves, and understood the rhythms of a pregnant woman's body. Akosua quickly earned a reputation for her gentle touch and calm demeanor. Mothers in labor felt reassured by her presence, and many whispered that her hands carried the blessings of the ancestors. Nana Adebayo often spoke to Akosua about the responsibility of their work. "A midwife is more than a deliverer of babies," she would say. "We are custodians of life. The first hands a child feels, the first face a mother sees after her labor. We bring hope into the world." For a time, Akosua cherished these words. She felt a sense of pride and purpose in her work. But as the years passed, the weight of her family's poverty began to gnaw at her spirit. She saw how hard her parents worked, only to scrape by with barely enough to feed the family. Her siblings went to bed hungry on more nights than she cared to admit. And yet, the wealthy traders from the city continued to pass through Nyamejua, their carts laden with goods Akosua could only dream of owning. The turning point. One fateful day, Akosua's life took a dark turn. She was called to assist in the delivery of a baby for Abina, a widow who lived on the outskirts of the village. Abina's husband had died the previous year, leaving her to care for 3 young children alone. The pregnancy had been unplanned, and as Akosua helped Abina bring her 4th child into the world, she saw the despair in the woman's eyes. After the baby's first cry pierced the air, Abina cradled her newborn and wept. "How will I feed another mouth?" she sobbed. "The gods have forsaken me." Akosua's heart ached for Abina, but her mind raced with possibilities. She had heard stories of wealthy families in the city who were desperate for children, willing to pay handsomely for the chance to adopt. An idea began to take shape in her mind, one that could change her life and alleviate her family's struggles. "Abina," Akosua began hesitantly, "what if there was a way to give your baby a better life? A family in the city could provide everything you cannot: food, education, love. And you would receive enough money to care for your other children." Abina looked at Akosua in shock. At first, the suggestion seemed unthinkable. But as Akosua painted a picture of hope and relief, the idea began to take root. With a heavy heart, Abina agreed to let Akosua arrange for her baby to be taken to the city. That was the beginning. The descent. What started as a single act of desperation quickly became a lucrative enterprise. Akosua realized there were many women in Nyamejua and neighboring villages who faced similar hardships. She began to seek out mothers who were overwhelmed by poverty and despair, offering them what she framed as a solution. In exchange for their babies, Akosua provided money, food, or other necessities. She assured the mothers that their children would be cared for by loving families in the city. At first, Akosua justified her actions. She told herself she was helping everyone involved. The mothers received financial relief, the children were given better lives, and she was finally able to lift her own family out of poverty. With the money she earned, Akosua transformed her life. She built the largest house in Niamejua, a grand structure of stone and timber with ornate carvings on the doors. She adorned herself with gold jewelry and imported fabrics, becoming the envy of the village. But not everyone celebrated Akosua's success. Whispers began to spread among the villagers. Some speculated that she had struck a deal with spirits or stumbled upon hidden gold. Others, particularly the older women, eyed her with suspicion. They couldn't quite put their finger on it, but something about Akosua's sudden fortune felt wrong. Her parents, Kwesi and Ama, were proud but confused. Akosua, Ama asked one day, "Where does all this wealth come from?" "Mame," Akosua replied with a dismissive smile, "I have found a way to make my skills as a midwife valuable. Do not worry." Despite her outward confidence, Akosua's nights were sleepless. The cries of the children she had given away haunted her dreams. She would wake up in a cold sweat, the sound of tiny voices echoing in her mind, "Mame, why did you leave us?" The confrontation. One night, as Akosua sat alone in her opulent home, staring at the flickering light of an oil lamp, she felt an overwhelming sense of emptiness. She had everything she had ever dreamed of, wealth, status, power, but none of it brought her peace. It was then that Nana Adebayo came to see her. The elder woman, now frail and walking with a cane, looked at Akosua with a mix of sorrow and compassion. "My child," Nana Adebayo said, "I see the burden you carry. Wealth can buy many things, but it cannot silence the cries of your conscience. You have strayed far from the path I taught you." Akosua broke down, her tears falling like rain. "Mama Adebayo, I thought I was helping. I thought I was giving those children a better life, but now I see that I was only thinking of myself. The gold, the fine clothes, it means nothing. I feel empty." Nana Adebayo placed a trembling hand on Akosua's shoulder. "Regret is the first step toward redemption, my child. The gods do not abandon those who seek to make amends. Use what you have gained to bring light into the world, not darkness." The redemption. Inspired by Nana Adebayo's words, Akosua decided to change her life. She sold her grand house and used the money to establish Nyam Nyaira, a sanctuary for orphaned and abandoned children. The home became a place of hope, offering food, shelter, and education to children who had no one else. But Akosua didn't stop there. She worked tirelessly to reconnect the children with their birth families whenever possible. She traveled to cities and villages, seeking out the parents who had once given up their children, hoping to mend the broken bonds. The villagers watched in awe as Akosua transformed. The woman who had once been consumed by greed became a beacon of compassion. Mothers who had once whispered about her behind closed doors now came to her for guidance and support. Over time, the whispers about Akosua changed. She was no longer seen as a mystery or a threat but as a symbol of redemption. Her story spread beyond Niamejua, inspiring others to believe that even the greatest mistakes could be redeemed. Though the memories of her past haunted her, Akosua found solace in the laughter of the children who now called her Mame with love. She dedicated the rest of her life to their well-being, finding joy not in gold or jewels, but in the smiles of those she had once wronged. And when Nana Adebayo passed away, Akosua ensured that her mentor's teachings lived on. She trained young women in midwifery, emphasizing the sacredness of their role and the importance of compassion. By the end of her days, Akosua was no longer the girl who had craved wealth at all costs. She was a mother to many, a healer of hearts, and a living testament to the power of redemption.